All right, so welcome. My name is Ian Walrath. I'm the camp director at Camp Gorton. I have emailed with lots of you over the last few months, but this is the first chance we've had to kind of get together and talk a little bit. Tonight's meeting is really just going to be kind of a go over of some reminders about camp, things to bring, things not to bring, what you need to do to be prepared when you get here, a little bit about how our week is scheduled and how it will go, and some of the things that we offer at camp. We'll go into more detail about specifics when we have our leader meeting once you're here. But today is really kind of just an overview of how our week at camp is going to go. I'm happy to answer any questions we have. It is just me representing the council on here, so I will do my
Right.
best to get to the chat questions as we go, but I'll make sure we answer all the questions before we're done. And just make sure if you can, since we're recording, it makes it easier if video and muted, just that way we don't have any background noise and the recording is a little clearer. All right, so obviously you're all signed up for a week at Camp Gordon this summer. It is going to be a very busy summer. A lot of you were not planning on visiting us to start with, but are now for a multitude of different reasons. So welcome. We're glad to have you, and we're looking forward to a great summer. Um, just some things to have ready to go when you get here, things that will make our process easier. Make sure your medical forms are all signed in the right places before you come. Make sure the parents have signed the front. Make sure the doctor has signed Part C and that all the parts are all filled out. Kids are much easier for the immunization records because we all have our kids' stuff for school. But those of us who are getting to my age, immunization records are not as easily found sometimes. So if you're not 100% sure, just make sure the month and the year is filled out as best as you can when you got those immunizations. And if you can all make a copy of the front page of Part A and bring an extra copy for us to keep here at camp, that's how we keep track of who was here when. It's also got the releases for using pictures or denying the pictures. That's all on there. So that piece we like to keep a copy of so that we can keep track of all that stuff. So if you can make a copy of that just to hand to us when you get here, that will make our life much easier. We have an early release form that's available on the website. We require those for any scout that's going to leave camp during the week, pretty much for any reason. That form has when they're leaving, who they're supposed to go, who they're supposed to ride with, who they're not supposed to go with. Um, and the parent signs it saying, yes, that's okay. And then before they leave, we'll have the leaders come and sign that form as well, so you know your scout is gone. Even if they're leaving for the evening for a ball game or something like that, and coming back, we still like to have those forms so that we know who's in camp and who's not and who they're supposed to be going with. At the end of our week, we have a big barbecue on Friday night. And we invite parents to come out and visit on that for that meal. We do a campfire and have our barbecue dinner, and then our program's kind of over at that point. Everyone who's registered for camp has that meal included in your registration, so it's paid for. Um, But what we ask is if you're going to have visitors come out, that by Wednesday we know you have a kind of an overall number of how many people are going to come out. Those extra meals do cost, but those can be paid for in the trading post at any time. The way that works is let's say you have 10 scouts coming and four adults, but two of those scouts and one of those adults are leaving before the barbecue. You now have three extra tickets that you can give to another parent. It's really numbers above or below, or let's say you're planning on leaving before the barbecue. We just need to know those numbers so that we can prepare for that meal ahead of time. The rest of the meals, we know who's here and we know what's planning for. So if you can talk to your parents ahead of time and see who's planning and coming out, getting those numbers ahead of time will make your life and ours a little bit easier. One of the biggest things that gets missed is water shoes. We are on a lake. We do not have a pool, so all of our swimming is in open water, and we do have zebra mussels, so we require water shoes of some sort anytime we're in the water. They don't have to be real water shoes. They could be an old pair of tennis shoes. I really kind of discourage Crocs just because they float, and even though they can lock them in four-wheel drive, it still has a tendency to come off. So something for them to wear in the water that they don't need to wear the rest of the day. One of our big things is no open-toed shoes in camp. It's not as much of a big deal with scouts as it is with cubs, but things like slides and Birks and stuff like that are just they're not appropriate for camp. So we ask everybody to wear something that's open or that's closed-toed, just to be on the safe side. The other piece is appropriate clothing. We never know what the weather's going to be, so make sure your scouts are wearing have the appropriate clothing for what the weather's going to be like that week. This also applies to like bathing suits. So boys' bathing suits should be a little, pretty much like below the fingertips if their arms are straight down. We don't need any super short swimming trunks. For the girls and the females, bikinis are not appropriate for summer camp. A tankini that covers majority of their body is okay, but bikini tops or bottoms are just not appropriate for camp. So make sure that everybody has appropriate clothing to wear while they're in camp. Those are just some of the things that we see happen every year that will make things easier and some things that people have a tendency to forget. Here's kind of a breakdown of what our week will look like. This will be available soon. We'll also have copies here. Our schedule is pretty much the same every day, Monday through Thursday. And as far as when our merit badges are being offered and that kind of stuff, dinner's always at the same time, flags are always at the same time. The only day that really changes is Thursday night is when we have our Outpost experience for specific merit badges and the fire program or first year program to go up on the hill and get a night of camping and get some of the requirements that they have to do on a camp out down up on the hill on our Outpost adventure. Friday's really the day that looks different as far as program goes. Program will end around 4 o'clock, and we'll do flags at 5:30 that evening, and then we'll have a campfire that we ask all the troops to come up with something to add to that campfire. The first campfire of the week we do, but the last one we'd like the scouts to be involved in, and we give all of our awards out at that time as well. And then right after that will be our big barbecue dinner. The biggest piece is our check-in day, and that day we have there are that day we have is really different. So when you get our check-in starts at 1 p.m. I don't have the staff, and my staff are not ready to get you in any earlier than that. So 1 p.m. is kind of a hard line. At 1 p.m. we'll open up and we will be ready to check everybody in. Just as you come in the gates, you'll see headquarters building. You'll see a big tent out back, and we'll be doing check-in there. We'll ask you guys to line up by your campsites, which there'll be signs lined up along the walkway so that when everybody is here ready to check in as a unit, then you can come up and my staff will bring you up and we'll get you checked in. We'll make sure that everybody's here, that we get that part A from medical form from you and get you started from there. Then we'll have you go take all your gear to the sites and get that all checked in or set up in your sites. There won't be a bunch of time to set up camp. It's more of a drop stuff off, go through the tents, make sure that all the tents are in good shape, and you're signing off saying, yep, we got it in good shape. And then at the end of the week, we'll check you out. And hopefully there isn't any damage or anything that we have to deal with at that point. But you'll go through with our site guide and just kind of check in the camp and make sure that you've got everything you need. Then we'll go immediately to our medical office and we'll go through medicals and make sure that those are all squared away and we have everything we need for that. And then we'll start our camp tour with you. We'll show you where you're going to eat. We're going to show you where all the program areas are. And then we're going to get you down for a swim test. We do all of our swim tests in camp because we are on a lake, and swimming in a pool is very different than swimming in a lake. And Ted Quinn, my waterfront director, has been doing this for 30 plus years, just insists that we do those in our water because it is very different than swimming in a pool, which many of you have asked me about throughout the last few months. After that, you'll have a chance to go back to your camp and set up. I asked one leader from each unit to come to a leader meeting at 4 o'clock at Memorial Lodge, which is down by the waterfront. That's where we will go over some more specific things as far as procedures go while you're in camp and where to find stuff and who to ask for different things and kind of how more of the nuts and bolts of how the week will run. But that's also a chance for us to give you any last minute stuff that may have changed before then, just so we can touch base before we start our week off. So, and then we'll have We'll have an opportunity in the evening after dinner if we have any last minute adjustments to merit badges, which I'll talk about a little bit more in a few minutes. Um, and we'll have a camp-wide game going on at the same time so that we can make those adjustments before we start our program for the week. And then we'll have an opening campfire that my staff will put on for everybody, and we will end our day. Our day usually ends 8:30, 9 o'clock, and then we ask lights out at 10 o'clock every night. We do allow visitors to come to camp at pretty much any time. If they're going to stay for a meal, they need to buy a meal in the trading post, and you can see the prices there in the bottom. That way we can cover those things. We ask you to give us as much warning as you can for visitors so that we can make sure we have seating for everybody. We're really asking for no big, huge groups to come out and visit this summer, though. We don't have the space or the capacity this year to have big group. So if you in the past you've like had your committee meetings or had a parent night, and they come for dinner, we're asking you to work around that a little bit with us this year because we just don't have the room in the dining hall for big groups to come join us. So, um, merit badge classes and additional opportunities. So we recognize the fact that we have a lot of scouts on waiting lists for merit badges that they really want to take. And a week or so ago, I went through and got as many people off the waiting list as I could at this point. Does not mean we can't get more scouts off those waiting lists, and that's kind of what Sunday evening is for. Um, but especially week one and week two, we are very, very full. And class sizes to get scouts what they want are going to be larger than usual. So I am really, for me to be able to get your scouts into the classes they want, I need you guys to really be out there and in the program areas. I'm not asking you to come teach anything. I'm asking you to come out and just kind of help supervise. I don't think it's beneficial to have a 16-year-old staff member trying to teach a merit badge to 20 plus kids if there's not someone else there to help control that crowd a little bit. So I'm really asking you guys to come out and help with that and help us just kind of, keep an eye on scouts and help us keep them on task in what they're doing. With that said, I'm also working with my program director right now to add some additional merit badges. Um, right now, I know there's quite a big waiting list for like cooking merit badge. And so we're looking at opportunities to add additional classes. Some of those may end up being at 7 o'clock at night from 7 to 8 during our open period time. So I know that for some scouts, that's going to be it's like, well, but then I don't get to do the fun stuff. Okay, maybe you don't get to go, hang out and play Uno and STEM, but if you really need that merit badge, then there'll be opportunities for you to get some of those. So we're currently working on that right now to get those out. As soon as I know when those merit badges are going to be offered and what merit badges those are, I will send an email out to everyone and I will set like they'll open up at 6 p.m. on Thursday, whatever the date is. It won't be, hey, they're open now. I'm going to have a set date, just like we did for merit badge sign up, so everybody has an opportunity to sign their kids up for those badges as they open. The only one I do know we're adding right now is we're going to add a welding merit badge at 4:30. It's a small class just because of the amount of work that needs to be done during that badge and equipment reasons. But I know that one for sure is going to be added at 4:30, from 4 to 5, as a small class that some older scouts could take. So as we go this weekend, we're trying to work out some of those details and be able to give you guys some more options for your scouts. So at Sunday's meeting, if you guys can commit to, helping out with some of those classes, then I can open some more spots up and let some more scouts into the classes they really want to be in. So one of the big things we have is Thursday Outpost. That is for camping and cooking merit badges for wilderness survival, the first year program, and our SEALs. They will all go up on the hilltop for the evening. They have program planned up there for them to fulfill the requirements they need to do, actually not in a camp or in camp, but in a campsite. Um, for our female scouts, I do not have a ton of females on my staff. So being able to provide the female leadership up on the hill can become a challenge. And so if you have female leaders that are available to go up, we'll talk about that on Sunday. at our leaders meeting to get names of people that are willing to go up and help with that. They go up after merit badges are over and they come down before the morning adventures happen. So they're not going to miss any program doing that activity. It's just our open period in the afternoon. Um, will they'll be up there doing something instead of down here. So keep that in mind that if you have female scouts that are in those badges and that we're going to need some help to make sure we have the proper leadership up on the hill for that. Most of you have done this 100 times, and I don't need to give you a list, but this is kind of the list of things to make sure everybody brings with them. It's also available in the leader's guide in a different format. Some of the big things we see that get forgotten a lot are a reusable water bottle. We'll have water stations all through camp for them to be able to refill their water. But I don't have like throwaway cheap plastic water bottles here for them to just to grab and go. I have a limited amount of cups that we can put out for that. So the more scouts have a reusable water bottle with them and carry it with them, the better. My staff are really going to push your scouts to make sure they stay hydrated. And it's the biggest issue we run into at camp is scouts that are busy, busy, busy and aren't taking care of their water needs. Um, we do get random weird thunderstorms here, so make sure your scouts have rain gear. Every year I end up with a half dozen scouts that forgot their raincoat. So things on there, that's one of those things to remember. This says costumes for Western themed camp. I actually just pulled this from a Cub Scout one, so that doesn't apply to you guys. We do have a pretty good trading post. They have snacks and drinks, ice cream, t-shirts, sweatshirts, hats, all the normal stuff a trading post has. We take cash, check, and cards, so your scouts you can prepare for that. All of everyone coming to camp this year, as long as you got your shirt sizes in by June 3rd, I will guarantee that I'll have a shirt for you in your size. We will have extras in the trading post, so if things change or you didn't get those in, I will have shirts available, but can't promise that the free t-shirt we'll have in your size, but we will have some in the trading post of different sizes. So if that's an issue, then we can help deal with that once you're here. But we'll have other shirts and other designs available as well. And again, this is in the leader's guide, so if you need to refer back to this, you absolutely can. In the leader's guide, there's also a list of additional things that your scouts going on the outpost will need. So make sure they have those things. We provide the tents, we provide all the cooking stuff and the food. They're just going to need to be able to carry their personal gear up the hill to be able to get up there and back down. So, some optional items. The list is about the same for every camp. We just ask that anything you bring is non-aerosol. The canvas tents that we use, the waterproofing is broken down very quickly by the materials in aerosol cans. So we ask those not to, if you bring bug repellent or insect repellent, which I cannot provide to you, um, my health staff can't provide to you. The Department of Health considers that an application of a medication, and I don't have that ability at camp. So you'll be in charge of that. If you have scouts or yourself that are taking medications, we do provide a lockbox that will go into your site with you that will be attached to one of your bunks, and we'll come through periodically and check and make sure everything's locked up and taken care of, but you'll be responsible for administering those medications to your scouts. So the aerosol can is just the big thing. That and like I said, the trading post will be open and ready to go. Slushies are the big hit for the summer every year. So just keep that in mind. For our trading post, we don't do individual accounts in the trading post. So your scout can't put money on an account and then use it as they go. That's just not something we're set up for yet. We're working for it in the future possibly, but right now we just can't do that. So they'll be in charge of their own money and their own spending as they go. As far as the campsites go, campsites are laid out a specific way. They're that way on purpose, so we ask you not to move tents or platforms or the canopies or the fire pits that are in the site. If you feel like something needs to be moved for a reason, talk to us. And if we can agree with you, then let us take care of that. We ask you not to do that. Flammable liquids. We live in an age where everything is available as a rechargeable LED light or something that that we can charge. So you can use flammable liquids in camp, but we highly encourage you not to. If you decide to use flammable liquids, which includes propane tanks, The only thing that you can have in your site is the tank you're using, and it must stay attached to whatever you're using it on. So if you're using a propane lantern, you can have a propane tank in your site, and it has to stay attached to the lantern. It doesn't mean you can't have other tanks, they just can't be in the site. They need to be stored in a metal container of some sort. We have the ability to do that for you, but I highly just recommend your trunk. It's a great place to keep that stuff. It's locked, it's metal, and nobody can get to it except for you. So if you want to bring those things, you can, but we highly encourage using rechargeable things that we can charge. There's lots of places to charge things, so it's just safer and better practices. If you're going to have campfire, you have a place to have a campfire in your site. But if you don't have to, but if you decide to, we provide all the tools you need for that. We'll have a fire rake and a shovel and fire buckets in each site. They'll be in the latrine. If you have a fire, we ask you to have a bucket sitting next, at least half full, sitting next to the fire, and just make sure that water gets changed out regularly so that we don't have mosquitoes decide to infest your campsite. I don't like the word inspection, but we do campsite check-ins. We will come around regularly and just kind of check with you. Sometimes it's during siesta, sometimes it's in the evening, but my site guides will come around and check in with you and make sure you have what you need, things are going well. They'll make sure that, the site is, you don't have food wrappers everywhere and there's not clothes hanging out of the sites and stuff like that. We kind of turn it into a little bit of a competition as far as getting, like doing campsite improvements and that kind of stuff. But we're all scouts. Scout is clean, so we know to take care of our campsites. Food and sites. We live here for a month out of the year. The rest of the animals that live in our area are here the rest of the year. We're the visitors. If you have food in your site, I guarantee they're going to come and want to share with you. And so we're not saying you can't have food in the sites, but if you have food in your site, we ask you to take it there, eat it, and then take any extras back to wherever it's somewhere other than your site, like to your car, or if it's something cold, we can talk to the kitchen and store it for you. And any wrappers and any waste from that comes immediately up to the site. Don't leave that in your site overnight, or you will have visitors overnight. And if any of our scouts or any of our adults come in physical contact with any mammals or any rodents, then the health department gets involved because of rabies, and that's not a pretty thing. So the more you can do to help make sure there's no animals in your site, the better for everybody. If you have any special requests for your stay at camp, we're here to make your summer good. We're here to get you what you need. So if you have some kind of special thing you want to do with your troop, we've done troop tubing nights, we've done all kinds of different activities, or you need a space to do something, then feel free to reach out, talk to us, and we'll do everything in our power to make sure that you can do those activities while you're at camp. And that way, your scouts get the most out of camp and nobody leaves feel like they're missing anything. So you can always reach out and talk to us in the office, and we'll do what we can to make that happen for you. That's the end of my slides, but I cut a couple other things to talk about. If you have any leaders that you have not entered into your registration yet, I need those done by June 29th. If they are not in by June 29th, I will not guarantee that I will have a spot for them in the site that you've been assigned to. We are, like I said, it's a very busy summer this summer, and we are very full, especially week one. So we have beds for everybody in camp. But that means that, especially week one, we have the sites are done with leaders sharing a tent. You are welcome to bring your own tents. Your scouts can bring their own tents. If your leaders don't want to share a tent, then I highly suggest you bring a separate tent for that because we are at capacity for week one. Week two is really tight, so I don't have a lot of wiggle room. And week three is just kind of a normal week for us. But week one, if your leaders want their own tent, you should plan on bringing your own. But I have a bed for everybody as long as you're willing to share a tent with somebody. Um, so, like I said, just kind of keep in mind that we need some help as far as keeping our scouts where they need to be and keeping them on task while they're in areas. We will offer some adult leader training if you have leaders who need it in the afternoons. And we're looking forward to seeing everybody this summer. And we'll give a lot more details as we get closer and as we at that leader meeting on Sunday as just like literally day to day kind of stuff. And we'll also have a leader meeting every morning immediately after breakfast where I ask you to send one leader from each unit. It's called Second Cup of Coffee. I'll have some coffee there for you and it'll give us a chance just to touch base on how things are going and any last minute things that we're doing during that day or in the next couple of days.
Hey, Ian, it's Darren
Yeah.
Weinstock from 525. Two questions. First one is there's mattresses on the bunks, I
Yes,
believe.
so they are like military style mattresses. Many years ago, they had the springs on them. They've been replaced with a sheet of plywood, and then you have a mattress on top of that. Personally, I have always brought an air mattress to add to that, but yeah, there are mattresses on all the cots.
Okay, thank you. And then I remember 2 years ago, there was a water issue with the chlorinator or something. I believe that's already taken care of, right?
Yeah, that's all taken care of.
Cool. Thank you.
Yep.
Ian,
We probably have the most filtered water in the entire state.
It was really good. I remember.
Yeah. Department of Health makes us filter it like 4 different times before it goes out. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Hmm.
Ian, quick question. I see it's in the chat there too, but is there a night where we cook in the site still? I wasn't there 2 years ago, but I understand that the camp did that.
Yeah, so we don't have that as part of our program this year.
Okay.
We've run for multiple reasons, feedback from leaders of, hey, we come to camp so we don't have to cook. The logistics of making sure that it's food that can be cooked thoroughly and still be a decent meal. But if your unit decides that they want a night that you want to do that, we're within 30 minutes of 2 different Walmarts and there's a Dollar General a quarter mile down the road. And so if that's something that your troop wants to do, just coordinate with us so we can make sure the dining hall doesn't cook for you that night. And that's actually it's absolutely an option for your unit to do.
Great. And one other quick question. Do any of the sites have power in them or we could run extension cord?
Yeah, so none of our sites have power. If you have people that need CPAP machines, make sure that that is in the medical notes. I have a couple battery packs now. If I need more, I will get them. That will we've been using for a few years, and they'll run a CPAP machine for 2 or 3 nights, and then we just bring them up to the office and we'll charge them up during the day, and then you can take them back. But that's definitely got to be in your medical notes so that when we start planning for that, we make sure we have what everybody needs.
Great. Thank you.
Hi, Ian. I've got a couple of questions.
Yep.
The first one, do you require any sort of early release or for the adults if somebody is going off compound for a day?
No, it's just the scouts. I need to make sure that whoever picks them up is the person who's supposed to pick them up.
Awesome.
That's really what it's about, to make sure that they're not leaving with, the uncle that they're not supposed to have any contact with, that kind of thing. So it's
Totally.
really just it's that safety thing, and that way we can also make sure that they're gone. But if you have leaders that need to go in and out of camp, we have a sign in, sign out sheet for our campers. If anybody leaves camp for any reason, we ask you to sign out. So in case there's an emergency, I know who I can have a good head count of everybody.
Awesome. Cool.
So one of the questions I saw in the chat was we do
I think that was intended to be in-site meal.
okay, gotcha. Yeah. Okay. That took care of that. Okay. Then I see if you're not registered yet as a leader, it's not too late to register. There's no price increase or discounts for adults. So you can really register at any time. Again, I got to have those by June 29th though. At that point, our sites are set and I got to make sure I have a spot for every person at that point. So, if you got adults that you still need to register, then get that done by June 29th. If you're in week 1 or week 2, registration is closed. You'll need to contact me or Mark McGrain to make that happen. So just send me an email and we'll do what we need to do to make that happen for you.
Hey, Ian.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So I remember 2 years ago we were allowed to stay optionally Friday night,
Yes.
and then leave Saturday morning.
Yes.
That's still an option this year.
Yes, our camp does not end until 10 a.m. on Saturday. We just don't have
Okay.
any program on Saturday. Our program ends at the barbecue dinner. We encourage units to stay over. One, it makes the drive home easier. Two, it's another night of camping with your unit. You're going to get dinner, and I'm going to give you a continental breakfast in the morning. It's usually like cinnamon rolls, cereal, oatmeal. If I have leftover sausage or something from one of the other meals, I'll bring that out. And just give you something to eat and coffee and some juice, and that way you can get on the road and get going, but um, you don't have to worry about feeding anybody in the morning.
Thank
Um,
you.
yep. Wayne looks like he asked about troop trailers. So our camp is not currently set up for trailers to stay in the site. As long as the weather has been decent and I'm not worried about you getting stuck on the trail, we will allow you to take your trailer in to unload all of your gear, but then we ask you to bring it back in the parking lot and park it in the parking lot. It's easily accessible during the week if you need to get back into it. But right now, we're currently just not set up for trailers to stay in the site. Um, Next question, Danielle asks, are there any issues with the range and target sports after? No, we are clear. We have National has given us a way to make sure that we can run those programs. And so shooting sports is a go for this summer. So not to worry about that. So for the welding class, what we'll do is once we figure out the other classes that we're going to add in the next day or so, I will send out an email to all you, and I will say that here are the merit badges we're offering. Here's what time they are. They will open up at 6 p.m. on this date, just like we did for regular merit badges. That way, everybody has the opportunity to get into those, and that way it's fair for everybody. Next question, is there Wi-Fi available on compound? Yes, there is. We have a Wi-Fi available. There's a guest access. By the time camp, right now I have Wi-Fi available at headquarters, and it's pretty much available all around the building. By the time camp starts, I will also have it available in the dining hall and many of the program areas. It's not available in the sites. So if you have things that you need to do, we will get you on the internet and you can do what you need to do I know most of us are taking time off from work to come do this, but we still have to check in with work or may have work we have to do while we're here. So we'll make sure you can do that. Yes, if you got a message for this, then that's because you are on the list as contact people for for your unit. So you're all set. Yes, the early morning adventures. So from 7 to 7:30 every morning, scouts can go and do an early morning swim or an early morning fish. Fishing will depend on how many people show up and how many people I can put on the dock. That is a limiting factor for that. But we have a great patch that goes along with that. If they do an early morning adventure, doesn't matter what it is, they can do the same thing 3 times. They can do 2 different things, do one twice and one the other one time. They earn an early morning adventure patch. That's also where the mile swim happens. So if you have scouts or adults that want to do the mile swim requirements changed last year, and you have to practice a minimum of, I think it's 3 days prior to the mile swim before we can allow you to take it. So if you have scouts or adults that want to take that, they should come down to the early morning swim. That's when we get those practices in. If that absolutely won't work for you, you can talk to Ted, our waterfront director, and see if you can find another time to get those practices in. Then on Friday morning, we'll do the mile swim that morning, and everybody will be done and ready to go before breakfast. Let's see here. So between 11 and 12, a lot of areas either have an hour or a half hour open. That is really our open period time for scouts that are working on things to spend more time on what they're doing. We will also have activities going on. Usually before lunch, we do a camp-wide game. We'll play capture the flag or ultimate frisbee or something on the parade field, and we'll have open activities happening in the areas. So if you got a kid taking fly fishing and they need to work on their flies some more, that's a good time for them to go. But we will have that kind of stuff happening during that time. Same in the afternoon. Most of the classes have from 4:30 to 5, nothing going on. We'll be having things happening in the program areas during that time to keep your scouts busy and they can work on stuff. Fishing license, not required. We have a great relationship with the local DEC. They know that we are an educational program and therefore we are teaching scouts to fish. Adults, they may not be as open with, so if you have adults that want to fish, I suggest having a fishing license, but the scouts do not need one. It's considered a learning situation, so we don't have to deal with that as far as that goes. If you have scouts that are taking motorboating merit badge, the big prerequisite to finish that badge is having your New York boater's license or the boater license equivalent in the state you live in. So we do not offer that class here at camp, but it is available online. If you look up US boating, there's an online course that they can take, or they can take an in-person one. We are a firm believer in the no more, no less. We are not a merit badge factory camp. We focus on the experience and the learning. And so if your scout does not complete the requirements, they will not get the merit badge. But everything they do complete will get signed off as a partial. And partials are not a bad thing. Partial just means maybe we need some more practice. Swimming is one that we end up with a lot of partials in because they're just not where they need to be with the different strokes. That's not a bad thing. They're still going to get credit for everything they did, and they can finish that up at another time somewhere else or come back to camp and finish it up at another time. So you do not need any blue cards for camp. Everything we do is recorded in Black Pug, and the council will work with you to make sure that all of that gets uploaded. Even if you're from out of council, we'll work with your council to make sure you get everything you need to show that everything is done. But most councils are using Black Pug now, and it's an easy upload on our side, and it will just show up in your scouts stuff. So you don't have to worry about recording blue cards or anything like that. Uniform requirements. So the only time we require a field uniform, which is the tan shirt or green if you're an Explorer unit, is for dinner and for evening flags. The rest of the day is what most of us call a Class C uniform, but is our activities uniform. We don't even require scout shirts during the day. Wear what's comfortable. But then for flag, that's why there's a little break before flag, so scouts can go back to their site, get cleaned up a little bit, get their uniform shirt, wear that for flags, wear it for dinner, and then evening activities that can go away. That's the only time that we ask for uniforms to be worn. So, all right. As most of you know, I'm easy to get a hold of. Just so everybody knows, I do not work for the council year round. So when you email me during the day, I'm at my day job of teaching fourth graders. And so if I don't answer you immediately, you know why. If you call me during the day, it goes to voicemail, and I will return your call later when I have time, either on my lunch or after work. But so don't be afraid of that. Yes, we have plenty of spaces for CPAP charging. If you have your own battery, that's great. The office is the best place to do that because that way it's not around 200 other people and we have lots of places in the dining hall to charge like phones and stuff like that. But sometimes you have problems with someone unplug somebody else so they can plug their stuff in. CPAP is not something I want to find that out at 7:30 at night that you've been unplugged for the last 4 hours. So we ask you to bring them to the office, and we'll make sure they get charged up here. Like I said, I have a couple batteries. If I need more, I will get them. But if you have your own battery pack to bring, that is the best. Yes, the leader's guide. All of the forms that you could possibly need for camp are on the website. If you go to the calendar, click on the week that you are coming to camp. At the bottom, if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you will see a bunch of stuff in blue writing. The leader's guide is there. The merit badge schedule is there. The week at a glance that I showed you earlier is not there, but it is. The medical forms are there. The early release form is there. All of that stuff is there. And some places it says that you need to bring copies of your rosters. We're going to provide you with copies of your roster. We ask you to hang a roster up in your campsite at the latrine. There's a cork board in each latrine. We ask you to have one when you go to medical, and then we ask you to have one that goes to our waterfront. But we'll provide all those to you. You don't have to print any of that off. So there's no cook and share. All of your meals will be provided by us in the dining hall. You will not be required to cook anything in your campsites. Again, if you want to do that, just coordinate with us so we don't cook you dinner too. But you're welcome to do that, and we can help provide some of the cooking utensils and stuff from our Scoutcraft area, but it's not part of our program that we do normally. One other question that I get a lot is if you have scouts doing like motorboating or shotgun or something like that, our camp is all inclusive. There are no extra charges for any of the merit badges or any of the merit badges that we offer. The only things that have extra costs are every night in our shooting sports area or our target and range and target activities area, we have a special something on the range. We have a muzzleloader night where they get to do some black powder. We have a cowboy action night where they get to do kind of like a simulated saloon shootout type thing with a double barrel shotgun and a lever action rifle. And with New York State's new things, we're using a pellet pistol or a pellet pistol, but a double action or a single action pistol. We have a full skeet range at our range, so we have a skeet night, we have a trap shoot night. Those all cost additional. So as an adult or a scout that's not in a merit badge and they want to go do those things, you can buy rounds or pay for those things at the trading post. They're range anywhere from $5 to $10. Yes, the adults are welcome and highly appreciated to come participate in the evening shooting activities. We usually actually have more adults than scouts that participate. So when you come and on Sunday, we're hoping to be able to give you a schedule. The shooting sports things are planned, but we're hoping to be able to give you a schedule for the entire week of, okay, Tuesday night in Scoutcraft, we're doing this. And Wednesday night at Waterfront, we're doing this. So you kind of have an idea of the special events that are happening throughout the week. So you can also help your scouts plan on what they're going to do during that time and make sure that they get to pick what they want to do. No, you cannot. If you're asking about need to bring your own equipment, yeah, do not bring. We are not allowed to bring any outside firearms or archery equipment into camp. So if you participate in those events, you will be using our equipment. That's a Department of Health and a New York State thing that we can't allow you to bring your own firearms or archery equipment into camp. If your scouts want to bring fishing poles, they're welcome to. The poles that we use are cane poles. But whether they get to use those on the dock or not will depend on how many people are fishing at that time. I don't like having lines being cast and flying all over the place when we've got a lot of kids on the dock fishing. Fly fishing poles, we have them for the class that we have. That class has a very low number because, again, there's a lot of flying hooks. But if they have their own fly fishing pole, they're welcome to bring it and use it. We're not going to stop them. We would love them to bring their own equipment. That way, they're also learning and using what they're going to use when they go home. So they're used to the equipment they're going to use when they go home. We do have a full quartermaster shop that has rakes and shovels and pruning tools and all that kind of stuff. We do have a lot of extra programs at camp to do. Our SEALs program is for the older scouts. That's an early morning thing where it's a lot of team building and physical fitness type stuff. We have a trail hiker program with 3 different levels where if you hike our trails and do some reflection on your hikes, you can earn different levels depending on where you're at in the program. And we also are always looking. We have an honor patrol program where there's some camp conservation type stuff. So if you have leaders or scouts that are looking for conservation projects and things like that, we have all the tools you need for that. We do have an OA day that is on Tuesdays. So Tuesday evening, we ask scouts to wear their OA sashes, and there'll be some special OA member only activities going on that night. Firewood is 100% provided. There's no cost. We have plenty of it. So, and on Sunday, we'll tell you where to get that for your sites. A lot of sites have some in them already, but if you need more, where to get that. We really try to make sure that there's very little you need to bring of your own from the outside other than your personal gear. Yes. Okay. So every site has a latrine in it. A minimum of their pit toilets in the sites, and you have running water in each latrine. So you have fresh drinking water and water to wash with in the latrine and the sites. There is a bathhouse and a shower house in the main part of campus that has youth male, adult female, flushable toilets, and a set of 12 showers. That's on the lake side of camp, the main part of camp. On the road side of camp or the hillside of camp, we have what we call a secondary shower house that has running water, has flushable toilet, has showers in it. That we set specific times during the day that's only available for adults. So you're not having to worry about whether scouts are in there using the shower during that time. But we have 12 lockable individual shower stalls in the main part of campus, and there's, my count might be off, but I think there's 3 showers on the other side of camp that will have posted times of open to scouts and open to adults only. Each site will have your tents in it. We use the old green military tents. On platforms, some have a metal frame, some have the outrigger and the post inside, and you'll have a minimum of at least a 10 by 20 like white canopy in each site with the picnic tables underneath it. You'll have a fire pit in every site. Yes, you may bring your own cots. If we need to remove cots for you, just talk to your site guide and we will pull cots out and you can definitely use your own. We want you to be as comfortable as possible while you're here. So if you're more comfortable with your own, you're welcome to use that. Just work with us to get the other ones removed out so that they're not sitting out in the weather, and we'll take care of that, those moving of those for you.
And Ian, wood for the campfires?
Yeah, we have plenty.
And do we request that from the?
So during that Sunday meeting, we will tell you where you can get the firewood. So we have a good little fleet of like the garden wagons that your scouts can use to move gear into the sites. Or if you're using a troop trailer, you won't need those for moving them in, but those are available to move wood or any other materials you need to move around camp. We have wood available all throughout camp, and we'll make sure you know where those spots are. So some of the site, I know we have lots of scouts out there that are getting into like the hammock camping and stuff like that. Not all the sites are ideal for that, but if your scouts want to bring a hammock and use that instead of their tent, that's absolutely okay as well. Some are much better than others. So bringing the troop trailer into the sites to unload, we'll work with you on that. Once we get your unit checked in and we know everybody's here, then we'll work with you to get that where it needs to go. Most of our sites are pretty easy to get to. If weather is bad and the roads are not in good shape, then if you want your troop trailer taken there to unload, then I may ask you to let my ranger be the one to get the trailer there. That way he's in control of it, and we have a tractor that he can move those with. We'll get your stuff where it needs to be before you need it, so don't worry about that. We do a Scoutmaster cook-off. That is typically on Thursdays. We will provide what you need to cook in and fires or charcoal or whatever you need if you want to participate in that. Staff loves it when you do because we love to eat, and like I said, there's lots of stores close by. So yeah, definitely. We always do that on Thursdays. I have Verizon. I have a cell signal just about everywhere in camp. There are some places that are better than others, but for the majority of camp, I can call from. 4 years ago, I would have told you different, but a few towers have gone up around us, and so now it's much better. No, we will not ask you to wait for the other troops to show up. Because some sites, especially with the smaller units, one site might have 3 units sharing a site. So when your unit is all here, we will get you where you need to go and start getting you. We will get you where you need to go. So if you're getting food for the Scoutmaster cook-off, I have some space available for you to store it in the kitchen. We just need to, again, coordinate with my kitchen staff to make sure that they know that you're bringing it and we have a spot for you. But yeah, if you have stuff if you want to go Wednesday night and get what you need for Thursday, we can absolutely make that happen.
For the Scoutmaster cook-off, if
Yeah.
we have a parent who is registered with us in a regular camper but not in a Scoutmaster position, are they eligible for the cook-off?
Yeah, they can come out and join us.
Okay, great.
Yeah, we love to have visitors at camp. We are not one of those camps where everybody's got to be registered ahead of time, and we don't want people, coming to visit. We want people to come to visit. The only thing is, if we're going to feed them, we need to know as far ahead of time as we can.
Oh no, I'm sorry. So he
Yeah,
stays. He's camping with us. He's
Oh.
an adult, but not in a registered position. So he's a
Oh, that's fine. As long as he's registered with your unit and staying
Yes.
with us. Yeah, any adult can participate.
cool. Thank you.
Yep. So stores, we are within 25 minutes of Walmart in Watkins Glen. There is a Dollar General a quarter mile down the road from us, and they love us because my staff pretty much lives out of there. And then we also have a couple other small stores within 15, 20 minutes of here. Scoutmaster Cookoff has no rules. You make what you want. It could be a main dish, it could be a side dish. I've had units come out and they've brought their little portable, charcoal smoker, and they smoked meat. Whatever you want to do. If you want it to be a dessert, make a dessert. It's open to any and all. For the Scoutmaster Cook-Off, we invite maybe 5 or 6 staff members, and as well as the Scoutcraft staff, because they are the ones who are getting all the fires and stuff ready for you, and there to support you in whatever you need. And we will announce at lunch who the winners were. But so think of at least, like, if you think about quantity wise, I'm gonna say 10 to 15 at least, sample size. It's not it's not a meal, it's a sample thing. So you don't need to make enough to feed 20 people, but know that there'll be, 15 people or so sampling your food if you want to share with the judges and the other scoutmasters that are there. All right, so if you have an adult come in for Thursday and stay until Saturday, what would the price be? So we need to register them as a split registration. They still need to follow all the same rules. They need to be registered with your unit, and they need to be registered with scouting. And we need to know that by June 29th, because that's a bed that I need to be able to make sure that they have. And they're welcome to do that, but they have to be registered as a split leadership person. So again, reach out to me or Mark McGrain with an email. I need name, birth date, or at least a name, and I can put them in, and then you can go in and put the youth protection or the youth safety training or whatever they're calling it now, in, and a birth date. But I have to have all that by June 29th, because every adult in camp, Department of Health makes me run a background check on, and I need birth dates and names for that. And that takes a little bit of time. So June 29th is the cutoff for adding new adults. Last minute, I can do an emergency thing, but I need I can't do that Sunday and you go, oh, by the way, I have another adult staying. I'm not going to guarantee I'm going to have a bed for them, and they can't stay in camp till they've cleared that background check. So, the things that I have to have before I can let anybody stay in camp is youth protection, have to be registered with your unit, and they have to pass that background check before they can stay in camp. As a visitor, no, but anybody staying overnight has to clear those things before they can stay in camp. But day visitors are welcome at any time. Anybody staying over, I need to know I need to know by the 29th. If you have any last minute changes, like let's say 3 days before you come to camp, you have a scout that breaks their leg and they're in a full, hip cast and they can't come to camp, I will absolutely make arrangements to get you your full refund back. But if you have a scout that just changes their name, there is a $275 cancellation fee that I'm supposed to charge from the day you register, but I don't up to June 1st. So any changes we made prior to June 1st, which I sent out to you guys, I refunded 100% of money. At this point, your best bet is to try to find somebody else to take that spot. I can change names in a registration, but if I cancel it, there's going to be I'm going to keep part of that money. Unless it's a medical reason, or, so if you have somebody who last minute bails on you, when you reach out to me about that, I need to know why, because it will make a difference. We had a car accident. Parents decided that in an emergency, they just moved to North Carolina and left you. You find out after the next week that they have to do summer school. Those are things that I will refund the full amount for. But if you have somebody just changes their mind, or the parents go, we're going to go on vacation that week instead, there is a cancellation fee. So at that point, your best bet is to try to find somebody else to go in that spot. All right. If there's no more questions, thank you for joining me tonight. We're excited about the summer. My staff is super excited. We're just, like I said, we're just asking for some help from you guys to make sure that we can get your scouts what they want. I don't want to ever tell a scout they can't get the merit badges they want. Just also last minute reminder, make sure you're checking our catalog for those prerequisites of things they need to do ahead of time before they come to camp. If those aren't done, I'll check off everything we do here, but those things will be left blank. So just know that if those aren't done before they get here, we also have some. I'm gonna throw one other thing out there. So especially like the citizenship and community merit, like the citizenship merit badges, if your scout gets prints off one of the, if they're not in the class but they really need that merit badge, if they print off the packet, the worksheet or the workbook that comes with that, and they get all the work done and have everything ready to go, we will make arrangements for my counselors to sit down with them and go through that, and we can still sign those things off without them being in the class. So if you have that scout who the last merit badge they need is citizenship in the community and they didn't get into the class, give them some homework. Tell them to do as much, get that packet done, and then we'll schedule a time during open period for them to sit down and go through that with one of my counselors, and we'll get it all put in and taken care of. That's another way to get some of those done that they didn't get into just because of class sizes. So, because some of those you can do all at home, and you just need somebody to look it over and talk with, and that's an easy way for them to get another merit badge without having to sit through the class. During those open periods, we also do a lot of, which we'll hopefully be able to give you a schedule of, but we really try to do a lot of if you notice the merit badge schedule, some merit badges are a half hour long. Those are merit badges that don't need 5 hours of class time to finish. You notice some of them are an hour and a half. It's because they need more time. We're really trying to make sure our schedule matches the needs of the badges and give the scouts more opportunities to take stuff. As we go, we may randomly go, hey, tonight during open period in STEM, we're going to offer chess merit badge. And so we'll throw that out at lunch. So your scouts have an opportunity to pick up another merit badge without it taking part of their normal schedule up. It's something we can do quick and easy. Fingerprinting is another one that's an easy merit badge to do, in an hour, hour and a half. So we will throw those out as we go, as those kind of merit badges we'll throw out as teasers throughout the week to give them, oh, what am I going to do tonight? Oh, wait, they're offering that. I'll go do that. So we'll do that. And like I said, once we figure out where we're going to add a couple more merit badges in, everybody will get an email with a date and a time that those will open up so that everybody has an opportunity at those, just like normal merit badge signups. Okay. Yeah, so I've been working on Sonia. I've been working on this merit badge schedule for about 3 years, trying to find the best way to offer as much as I can and not waste scouts' time. Those of us who've been doing this a long time know that at camp sometimes a merit badge they're done on day 3, and then they're really just wasting time and getting into trouble the last 2 days. And it's really hard to turn a merit badge into more than what it really is. And so this has kind of been my fix of let's make the classes as long as they need to be, and lots of opportunity. Honestly, let me add about 8 merit badges to our schedule over top of what we've done in the past. So before the week's over and you're here, we're going to give you a link to a digital survey that we'll ask you to fill out for us. There'll be questions in there about the schedule and what you thought. I want as much feedback as you can give me. Those of you who've been at camp with me before know that I am always looking. I tell my staff, if you can't tell me something we can do better, then I probably don't want you back. We can always do better than we did, and there's always room to improve. So as much feedback as you can give is always appreciated, because my job is to make sure that your scouts have a great time while they're here and get what they want. So adult training classes, we typically offer the classroom part of, what is it now, aisles or something like that, what used to be IDLs. If there's other things that you're interested in, that's kind of what that Sunday meeting is for. Okay, what do you guys need? If you guys are interested in doing, first aid CPR, I have people that can do that. If you're interested in doing, learning more about, lead no trace and outdoor code, I have people that can do that. If you need position specific training, we can do that. I have the capability to offer just about any type of training you want. Some things we used to offer, like safe swim or safety afloat. That's an online course now. I can arrange for you to sit and talk with my staff about, what things work and what don't, but that training piece has to be done online now. I can't just offer that here and give you a card. But hazardous weather training is another one of those. But I do have computers available here. So if something comes up and you want to do some of those trainings, you got a half hour to kill, and you realize your hazardous weather is expired, or you're thinking about doing some boating with your troop, I have access for you. So we'll get you on a computer and you can do those trainings while you're here, while your scouts are in their classes. But anything that's hands-on stuff, we can definitely help with, and we'll even make stuff up if you just want to learn about something in more detail. I have somebody, we have people that will do that with you. All right. If there's nothing else, I'll let you guys go for the night. Thanks for joining us. Again, we'll send out an email when this is available. So if you have other adults or other leaders that want to listen to this or take a look at it, it'll be available online. And if any other questions pop up along the way, feel free to email me or Mark, and we will do our best to answer those questions for you. Okay. I'm looking forward to seeing all of you this summer, and enjoy your next few weeks, and we'll see you in about a month.